Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. It's a video conference that's taking place, regular committee meeting. And with that, just like if the other committee members are present, would they state their name that they're here?
Dean Veneman.
All right. And we do have a couple people from staff, if they want to introduce themselves.
Joe Terry, Director of Public Works. Joe Eichstedt, City Engineer.
Thank you. With that, the meeting's called to order, and item 2 is DPW report. Joe, what would you have?
Thank you. I'll keep it brief because of the public hearings. As usual, the report is online in the homepage of the Public Works section. A couple high points. I do want to mention that our degradation fee program is underway. The new permitting requirements went live in late December. The permit webpage was updated with the new right-of-way permit application, and it even includes a fee calculator for utilities to use. In February, for example, we had 4 permits issued on the 15th for excavating in the rights-of-way, and those 4 permits yielded a total cost of or total fees of $9,300, and those fees will be utilized then for repair of streets. So I think it's excellent that we've got this underway, and I want to thank staff for their diligence in getting it put together so that it's easy to use for all of the utilities that are excavating in the right-of-way. Just wanted to remind everyone, and we did notice the alderpersons, but on the early February, $534,600 grant was approved through the Wisconsin DOT to rework the traffic signals at 3 different intersections in conjunction with the railroad. That's at Chase Street, West Grand, and High Street. Getting ready for our construction season, which is really just around the corner. Our street department staff and construction work group has reviewed the 2021 construction plans and are working with the engineering department on any recommendations or changes. So that's well underway. We've also, through this winter and with COVID, we've been able to provide some unique services to the community that I'm particularly proud of. We've hosted 4 food drives out of one of the buildings over at the city garage. We're also in the process of setting up our OSHA 10 safety training, forklift training, and an excavation competent person training that we will be doing in March. Little quick thing on wastewater. Some of you may recall, but we did some in-house initiatives thanks to our wastewater staff and our engineering department for the design. I'm sorry, this one didn't involve our engineering department. It was an in-house initiative to install some bypass piping around the feedstock heat exchanger at the wastewater plant. And that was a project that our staff wanted to try, and it's proving to be successful. And what was happening is we were getting a type of growth in our heat exchange boilers that required a cost to clean on a regular basis. It's proving to be very successful. There's been little to no new precipitant buildup on the tube, and we're saving tens of thousands of dollars a year, plus the efficiency gains. With that, I'm going to leave the rest for everybody to read. Again, we've had a very busy month, and staff and engineering, streets, and wastewater have been very active.
Thanks, Joe. With that, we'll be going to item 3. Before we get started with the public hearing, I'd like to turn it over for a couple minutes anyway to City Engineer Joe Eichstad to explain, I think, what the process was with the assessments and how we went through that and what was all done and how we got to where we're at now. So, Joe?
Thanks, Tom. Just real quick synopsis of what the assessment hearing is and kind of what the intent of these hearings really are. The assessment hearings are a formal and public way in which the assessment report can be reviewed. The assessment report was mailed out to all of the property owners in advance of the hearing. So if there's specific questions or items to be disputed or errors and omissions, those are the types of things that are essentially on the docket for the assessment hearing. Regarding the special assessment process, take just a moment to run through basic parameters and items and how they're calculated for the special assessment charges. Generally, the charges are based upon lineal footage of frontage along the street, or in case of sanitary laterals and water services, they are per each. The items that we typically assess for are permanent street surfacing, curb and gutter, sidewalk, sanitary and water services, and sanitary main and water main. The components for the projects tonight, I guess it does include new construction as well. But for permanent street surfacing, that's assessed at a rate of 20% to the property owners. So each side of the street pays 20% of actual cost, and the city pays for 60%. A curb and gutter is assessed at 2/3 cost to the property owner, 1/3 cost to the city along each side of the street. Sidewalk is assessed at 100% cost to the property owner, and as well as sanitary and water services. The sanitary and water main replacements are not assessed to the property owner. However, new sewer mains and water mains are assessed to the property owner at 100%. Regarding payment for the special assessments, following the assessment hearing and at such time that the final resolution is approved by committee and council, the invoices will be sent to the property owners. And the property owners have the option to pay that charge at any time. If by October 1st of 2021, there's still a balance on the bill, that will be converted into replacement onto the property taxes come January. After that time, once it hits the property bills, it will automatically be put on to a payment plan based upon the balance on the special assessments. And so special assessment charges between $300 and $1,000 will be placed on a 5-year payment plan automatically. Between $1,000 and $5,000, it'll be put on a 10-year payment plan, and beyond $5,000, it'll be a 15-year payment plan. The city does charge interest on that payment plan. The interest rate follows the U.S. prime rate, and for 2021, the interest rate is 3.25%. So, Tom, that concludes my basic summary. I do have a short summary of each of the assessment reports for each project, for each assessment hearing, when we get to that point.
So would you like to do that before we have the public hearing or after the public hearing, or what, Joe?
We could do it before.
Okay. So with that, we'll be on item 3, which is going to be the public hearing. But Joe, if you want to give a synopsis of what that is, and that's in this case, it's 2nd Avenue South from the West Riverview Expressway to 10th Avenue South.
Sure. So the Second Avenue project from West Riverview Expressway to 10th Avenue, that assessment report consisted of 22 properties with a total cost of assessments of $133,521.15. All of the proposed assessment reports were sent to the property owners and notice of this meeting this evening. There's a summary document that's included in the packet. It shows the final costs summarized on a single page, along with all of the individual proposed assessment reports specific for each property. Those proposed assessment reports identify each of the items that are being assessed, along with the quantities, the units, and associated cost. With that, that would conclude the engineer's report.
With that, then, the public hearing will be opened on that project, 2nd Avenue South, from West Riverview Expressway to 10th Avenue South. Is there any comments, any questions from anybody? Pertinent to what the groundwork has been laid out to be.
I have a question. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'm the only one on, but this is Rod Winters, and my property is at 950 2nd Avenue South. So that's a duplex on the west side of that road, 2nd Avenue. So when I got my property bill, it came into over $9,000, just over $9,000, which is in the range of what you told me it was going to be. However, you know, the couple problems I have with that billing, first of all, you know, we weren't told that when the cement work was going to be done for the approaches, that the angle of the approaches is considerably narrower than what it was originally. And if you look at each driveway, you can see that easily, that when it comes up to the sidewalk and into the driveway, I would have to estimate it's, you know, it's now probably at about a 10 or 15% angle narrower than what it was before. And I measured it, and so if I actually cut off, you know, and squared that up and cut off, we're probably 2 feet on each side of that approach where it's a shorter angle, narrower. So what that means is when my tenants drive into my driveway now, they have to hit that driveway square on exactly to make it up into my driveway, and they don't. And they end up on the yard and tears up my driveway all the way, the yard up, halfway up that driveway. So I guess what, you know, that was frustrating to see when it was done, because I was never told it was going to be like that. I expected it to be the same quality or better when an improvement is made. And obviously that was a mistake, and that was something that was cut corners, I think, probably just to reduce the expense of that cement work. But it makes a huge difference for the property owner when they drive into that driveway. So I hope you can understand what I was trying to explain there. It's the angle of the approach from where it starts at the street and goes up to where it meets at the sidewalk is considerably different, okay? And I did figure out approximately what that difference in cost would be, you know, based on the numbers that you gave me for the approaches. The second thing that I wanted to ask about is, and I talked to Joe on the sidewalk that evening, is that, you know, I had sidewalk that was in pretty good shape and there was no cracks on it whatsoever. I had 5 different slabs that he told me I was going to be getting credit for, as well as 2 poured slabs in the driveway, which were done just 2 years prior. So, you know, those slabs on the sidewalk were approximately 5 foot by 5 foot. And I'm assuming that that's the 4-inch sidewalk slabs that's quoted on my bill here. And there's nowhere listing anywhere that shows a credit for that. And then my driveway was 10 feet across by 29 feet in length, okay? And there is no indication anywhere on my bill that there's a credit for that as well. So I'm just wondering, you know, where that credit shows up or how that's taken off my bill. So those are my two concerns.
And both of them, I probably personally can't answer. I'd have to turn it over to staff if they have something that we can discuss tonight, or if it has to be taken care of later too. But there is a way. Joe, is there anything you can have to say?
Yeah, sure. To answer the two questions, regarding the narrower driveway, I'd like to connect with you after the meeting, you know, tomorrow, perhaps during the day, and we'll get some eyes on the situation out there. That's the first I've heard of the driveway approach issue. So we'll definitely take a look at that. Regarding the credits, we do have that information in our records. I don't have those with me, but I can definitely follow up on that information tomorrow as well, so we can at least validate the charges in the proposed assessment report and triple check and make sure that they're accurate, and then let you know what those credits are.
That sounds good. You know, and Joe, I'd be happy to meet you over there and we can go over what it was and I can show you if we need to remeasure anything so you can see those measurements. I'm happy to do that with you too. We'll just set up a time to do that.
Sounds good.
Do you want me to call you tomorrow?
Yeah, if you've got my number handy, that would work well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be at work, so, I mean, I think it would be better if we met over there and I could just show you kind of what I'm talking about. And if we have to remeasure, just so you get your records accurate and we know exactly what we're talking about, we can do that, okay?
Sure.
So I can find your number. I don't have it with me right now, but I can find it.
And Tom, is this where I come in to discuss my assessment?
I just want, just a second, I just wanted to thank the gentleman previously here to cooperative and at meet with staff and go over that. I appreciate that, and we'll see what can be done or what it is. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Jim, go ahead.
Okay, I'm the previous owner of 900 Second Avenue South. I stumbled across this meeting on the internet and downloaded some of the information. I have a considerable amount of money at the title company as security on this assessment. There are 5 things on the assessment page that I would like to address, plus a couple more. One is the 1-inch lateral lead for 1,221.77. They did not do a water lead. That was because that I was pre-connected to the main, and they did not have to go down to that section of the main to get to my lead. The 4-inch sanitary lateral is for 1,193.49. They did not replace more than 8 feet of that sanitary lead. In fact, when they did, they had the backfill, and then we had a very large rainstorm, and it backfed into my basement. But I should not be charged for more than 8 feet of a lateral lead, which was to about the west side of the curb and gutter. The removal and replace of 4-inch sidewalk, 25 square feet. Joe, is that the square feet of one slab of concrete? Joe, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
It says 25 square feet.
Yes, that is the size of one panel, one 5x5 panel.
Okay, because the gas company tore up one of the slabs. The city tore up two, and then they put in the extra wide handicap ramp. But that's all right. I'm not going to pursue that. Permanent street surfacing, $1,873. My address is 900 2nd Avenue, not 10th Avenue. I was also told that a majority of the street surfacing on my side of the street was done for cosmetic, so that it could, that the entire project would look good. I don't believe that going back in history that property owners on a corner lot are charged for their side yard. It's only for the address side of the street. So I'm contesting that charge right there for $1,873.20. The removal and replace the curb and gutter. I was told that a majority of that would not be charged to me because of that same thing. So I am contesting my $5,227.06 assessment. I also am requesting that in the correspondence that is sent to the new property owner, because of my vested interest on this property, that a copy be sent to me.
Okay, staff, quick comment. Do you have anything on that?
Not in specific detail, but certainly for copying correspondence to Jim, we can connect tomorrow, and I can get his new address, and we can make sure to get any correspondence out to him.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Okay, is there anything, anybody else on this project? Second time, is there anybody else that has any comments on this project? Third time, anybody else has any comments on this project? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. And that takes us to number 4, and that's to consider a final resolution for special assessments related to 2nd Avenue South from West Riverview Expressway to 10th Avenue South. Committee, what would your wishes be? I would move we approve this final assessment resolution for special assessments.
I'll second it.
Related to the second. And we have a second for that. Any further discussion?
Who was the second, please?
Dean did, I think.
Thank you.
I did, Dennis Pavlik.
Oh, sorry about that.
Thank you.
If there's no further discussion, committee will vote. All those in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Takes us to number 5. And that's an assessment hearing for Washington Street from 12th Street South to Baker Drive. And with that, I'll open the public hearing on that. But I guess at first, again, Joe, do you have a preliminary synopsis of what it was?
Yep, just a basic summary here for Washington Street. There were 48 properties in the assessment district with total cost of assessments at $333,952.31. Again, everybody was noticed of the proposed assessment report along with tonight's assessment hearing, and I guess that would include my engineer's report.
And then with that, the public hearing is open. Is there any comments on the hearing for Washington Street from 12th Street South to Baker Drive? The second time, is there any comments from anybody?
Just one question, I guess. Earlier, Joe mentioned kind of how the breakdown and the payments and all that were. I assume that's pretty much standard. So for the Washington Street project, that same formula, the payment plans, the payment dates, all that would hold the same.
Yes, all of those parameters would be the same.
All right. Just had to make sure if I had to change my notes or not. Thanks.
Could we get this gentleman's name for the record, please?
That was Brian Clement, K-L-E-M-E-N-T.
Thank you, Brian. Third time, is there anybody else that has any questions, comments on Washington Street from 12th Street South to Baker Drive project? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing on that, and then we'll go to item 6, which is to consider a final resolution for special assessments related to Washington Street from 12th Street South to Baker Drive.
I'll go to the final resolution.
Committee, what's your wishes?
I'll make a motion to move the final resolution.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to move the final resolution. There's no further discussion by the committee. With that, we'll vote. All in favor, respond by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. That, number 7, and that's the assessment hearing for 14th Place from approximately 522 feet south of Rosewood Avenue to approximately 595 feet south of Rosewood Avenue. And again, just before we get into questions or comments, Joel, do you have a brief synopsis of that?
Yeah, there were 5 properties in this assessment district. The total cost of assessments is $38,907.72. It is a new construction project, so the utility mains are new sanitary main, new water mains. So those are components of these assessments. That differs from the previous 2 that we just did. But again, each property will send their proposed assessment report, and was noticed of the assessment hearing this evening.
And with that, the public hearing is open. Is there any questions or comments by anybody dealing with that project, 14th Place from approximately 522 feet south of Rosewood Avenue to approximately 595 feet south of Rosewood Avenue? Second time, is there anybody has any comments about that? Or questions? Third and final time, is there any questions from anybody? Comments? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing for that, and then we go to item number 8. Let's consider a final resolution for special assessments related to 14th Place from approximately 522 feet south of Rosewood Avenue to approximately 595 feet south of Rosewood Avenue. Committee, what would your wishes be?
I'll make a motion to move forward with the resolution.
I'll second it.
We have a motion, a second, to approve a final resolution for that, and hearing no further discussion, committee will vote. All in favor, respond by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And with that, it brings us to item number 9, I do believe, and that's the final thing on there, and that's to adjourn. And with that, I'll move that we adjourn.
Tom, is there a chance that I can appeal your assessment to my former house? Because it doesn't sound like that anything I said was taken into consideration.
Staff?
So we can double check that, Tom, and confirm. If staff's confirmation is that the report is accurate, we can report that back to Mr. Geniak. And I believe there is a statutory process for appealing special assessments, but we will first double check our measurements and communicate that with him. We'll forward that information to the committee. If there's any question about that, we'll have that in front of the committee before the March Common Council meeting.
Thank you. Then with that, we'll go to item number 9, that's to adjourn, and I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Committee, all in favor, respond by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The meeting's adjourned at 6:36 p.m. Thank you, everybody.